And welcome back. Our next guest is a former broadcast radio professional, author, actress, writer. She joined us to speak about her career transition from being in the Army to getting into journalism, writing, and broadcast radio, eventually highlighting books on race relations and so much more. Let's take a look at our conversation with Jeanette Davis. Jeanette, how are you? Welcome to the show, my veteran, beautiful person.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bob. It's been a pleasure. My family and I are thrilled for me being on your show, and we admire you and all the work that you've done. So I thank you so much for having me on.
Let me start off by saying I want to thank you for your service. You're a U.S. Army vet, right?
Yes, I am. Thank you, sir.
All right, so you came through all of that, and then you got out of the service after about 6 years, and then you got into broadcasting right away. How did this start for you?
Well, I went into the military to get the GI Bill because my father had passed, so I can get my education.
Yeah.
And I've always wanted to write. My father was a merchant seaman and he traveled the world and he used to bring me back slides and books of information about the different peoples of the world. So I said, I wanted to learn how to write because I taught myself how to read at the age of 4
Yeah.
because of my interest in writing. But I didn't find, but as I traveled my course and going into broadcast journalism to get the skill, I noticed that I said, well, I want to write, but what do I write about? So I'm 75 now. So
Yeah.
in my 20s, I
No,
was,
you don't look 75. You're doing
well, thank
something
you.
right. You should write a
Thank,
book about that,
yeah,
how to keep
thank you.
yourself.
Thank you, sir. So I was, I had all kind of questions in my mind
Yeah.
because I went to an all black boarding school and they taught us so much information about our history. And it was
Uh-huh.
amazing to me how many people, our people didn't know that history. So I began to ask questions. I said, these people had us enslaved and they telling us to worship their God and they're giving us this white Jesus. So I said, no, I have to find out the origin of all things.
All right. So you went to Morgan State University?
Yes, I did. That's the school of my choice. I wanted to go to Howard, but I was in the military and it was too far a distance to travel to go back and forth to classes.
Uh-huh.
So my secondary choice was Morgan. Of course, it had to be a black institution. So
Yeah.
that's why I chose Morgan and broadcast journalism because I wanted to learn how to write, uh, get my skills down for writing. But I didn't yet know what I wanted to write about. So I said, well, I need more living and learning to do before I can write to help my people. And that was my main objective. So I started studying in my 20s the history of our people, going to the
Uh-huh.
beginning of time far back as we can go. And I was placed in certain positions to meet Dr. Asa Hilliard, to meet Mary McLeod Bethune, who came to the university, to the school that I was going to, because she was great friends with our president, Dr. Rena Cornelia Mallory. I met a lot of people who kind of steered me in the direction and gave me the answers of where I could find the information.
Yes.
So once I started finding the information and putting things together, I was saying, well, I can write some magazine articles. But then my mother got very sick, and I had to go to New Jersey to take care of her. We originally from New York, but she had moved to New Jersey. And when I went to take care of her, I laid everything on the carpet, and I said, I'm going to write some magazine articles. I'm not going to waste this time. But
Yeah.
when I put it all together, I said, this is a book, and that's
Yeah.
how Black Survival in White America was born. That was my first book, and that was in 1995.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
So
you went
yes,
on from
Morgan.
there.
Yeah. And from there, I wrote The Great Divide Between Blacks and Whites, which was a black perspective on one side of the page and white perspective on the same issue on the second side of the page. So
Yeah.
I took that all the way through. Then my next book, well, the next book, that's not the next one. So the next one, in order, well, I'll just Master Being Human, you brought up. So Master Being Human is the spiritual book that I said, well, our people need to advance and need to grow. But in order for us to advance and grow, we need to fix ourselves first. So we need
Yeah.
to spiritually grow and to get rid of the slave mentality, which was us going along with the programming that was implemented upon us from the cradle. So I said we need to get rid of that, and we also need to get rid of everything from slavery that's embedded in our culture. And I was in my research, I found Dr. Joy DeGruy, and her presentation was one that was specific, and I have it on my website,
Yeah.
post-traumatic slave disorder. So she mentioned the
Ooh.
stuff that we need to remove.
Yeah.
So, and I said, well, we need to work on ourselves. So, master being human is what we need to do to work on ourselves so that we can, whatever happens on the outside of us, cannot affect what's going on inside of us. And that is not what happens on the outside of us, but how we react to it. But we have to master ourselves, and it takes a lot of work.
Yeah. I know when you said you were into the origins of things,
Hmm.
it was sort of spiritual or metaphysical. When you,
Yes,
because you talk about the origins of things, you want to go within and find out what's happening
right.
within, so that you can straighten out things that's happening on the outside.
That's
So go
correct.
into your subconscious world so that you can deal with things on
Right.
the
And what
outside.
steered me into that direction was my investigation into Egypt, into our ancestors and
Yeah.
Ma'at and all of the laws and all of the different religions. I became a Buddhist for 8 years, and that kind of helped me. Not
Wow.
kind of, it did help me. And it
Yeah.
steered me in the right direction. And then I began to read the Bible in a different way, because then I knew where the Bible came from off the hieroglyphics. So I knew that the religions, as they were constructed, was not constructed from God. It was constructed from people wanting to rule other people. So when I got into that, then I have, my grandparents had 19 children, so I've seen a lot of my relatives pass away.
Yeah.
Soulful Journey, the business of beings, came to life because I wanted to know, where does the spirit go when we pass. So this is my only fiction
Yeah.
book, because that was my journey into spiritually trying to find out, where did the soul go.
Yeah.
And it's interesting how that worked out.
And this
Then I
book right
have,
here.
no, Soulful Journey, the business of beings. That's the
Yeah.
green book.
Yeah.
But now the one you just had up, Black Just Like My Mama, is my autobiography. And I wrote that because once you live and die, and all the people who know you die, it's like you never existed. So I wanted to write about this great Black family that I came from. And I wrote about them, and I also wanted people to see my journey and my mother's journey. I started writing about me, but she took over the book. I found out I was writing more about her than me.
My mom came in and said, wait a minute, what about me?"
No. This was a book I was writing on my own without
Yeah,
her knowing, but her spirit just took over the book.
that's what I'm saying. And she
Yeah,
said, "What
yeah,
about me?"
yes, right. And so even though she was living a part of the time that I was writing it, but
Yeah.
then she passed away. But the book itself is to encourage all people, no matter what you go through. And I've gone through a lot. Whatever you've gone through, no matter what it is, you have to reach deep down inside of yourself to persevere and bring yourself out of it with the God within you, connecting with the God in the universe to
Oh,
navigate your life. So we
yeah.
can navigate
That's a whole nother
our life.
religion now. When you
Right.
like
Well,
this,
not
the
no
God in me
spirituality.
recognizes God in you. That's Hinduism.
Right. Well, you can. Yeah, right. You can look at they all lead to the same place,
Yeah.
which is spiritual growth.
There's only one
So
God. Yeah.
that's right. That's right. Spiritual growth, no matter who you see God to be it the universe or whatever. But I
Yeah.
never saw a white man up there. That was never in my vision. But anyway, so the book is to help others to, no matter what happens, to get through it.
Yeah.
And then the next book, Echoes from the Heart, Love Throws Poetry, the poetry that I got, that my life in poetry, so to speak,
Uh-huh.
and what the way I've seen things, the way I saw things. I never meant to publish Soulful Journey and Echoes from the Heart, but my niece encouraged me to go ahead and publish them because they were very personal books.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Beautiful. So you've come on a writing journey. You've
Oh
come
yes,
through it.
yes,
And you
yes.
bring a lot of people with you because that's why you write the book. You want people to follow you and get something out of these books that you've written.
Hmm.
Um, then you went into broadcast journalism. Was that before or after writing the books?
No, that was at Morgan State. When I got out of the military, I went to Morgan State, and I went into broadcast journalism because of the fever I had and the thirst I had to learn the craft of writing.
So then, so that helped you with writing the writing of the books.
That helped me with the technical part of the writing. What I did was I loved to read authors. Ayn Rand, who wrote Atlas Shrugged, I liked her descriptive ways that she described things in her book.
Mhm.
And I said, I want to be able to describe things like this. Taylor Caldwell, come from way back when they didn't have many black writers at the time. So Taylor Caldwell was the what I used as far as what I grasped as far as someone sitting across from you like they're having a conversation with you. That's what I got from her.
Yeah.
From James Baldwin, I got
Oh,
the I got the emotion. I got the stick to the point, be concise, say what you have to say, and don't hold back.
yeah,
So I got that from James Baldwin. So and then County Cullen, and then you go to so many black writers that I studied, and I studied a lot of autobiographies and bibliography and then biology, biographies,
yeah,
and I even studied the biology of our bodies, that we are
yeah,
different from other people, and all this stuff
yeah.
is on my website.
Is all of this, what's the website? Because we need an
It's
hour to talk to you
yeah,
about
it's
all of
w
this stuff. And they're
yeah,
wrapping me up right about now. But all of this we
okay.
can find on your website, right?
Yes, www.JeanetteDavis.com. That's
Uh,
www.JeanetteDavis.com.
Listen, come back again because we need to sit down and talk more, okay?
My pleasure. Thank you.
You got it. Thank you. Jeanette Davis, author. She's got it going on. She's a journalist too. She puts the pen to the paper also.
You know, it is said to know where you're going, you have to know where you are, know where you've been to know where you're going. So we applaud Jeanette Davis. Jeanette, for the work that she is doing in educating others on race relations and on true history. We wish her all the best with everything that she's doing. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back with more. We'll give it to you next on Open.